price demand. So what is price demand? Basically functional relationship between the demand for a commodity and its price, as known as price demand. Okay, that much, you don't have to say more, but still if you want you can add that it's an inverse relationship between price of the commodity and quantity demanded. What do you understand by income demand? That means here it is price, here is income, the same thing. But here the problem is that there is a difference. What is the difference? That the income demand shows how much quantity of demand consumer will buy at different level of income, and the relationship is that, you know, whenever the income increases for the normal commodity, the demand also increases. Here it is the inverse relationship, here it is direct relationship. Next is substitute goods and complementary goods. You must be knowing what is substitute good. Tea and what? Tea and coffee. Why substitute goods? Because same type of demand, but what happened that if one price increases, others demand increases. So quantity demand one good is positively related to the change in the price of substitute goods. If you write this much also, or if you say this much also, it is also alright. That means substitution goods are goods which satisfy the same type of demand and hence can be used in place of one another to satisfy given want, such as tea and coffee. If you don't want to write this, you can write only this, that tea and coffee are substitute goods when the quantity demanded of one good is positively means one increases, other also increases. Similarly, one decreases, other also decreases. Positively related to the change in the price of the other good or substitute goods. Complementary is just the opposite. Complementary goods, you have to write that an increase in the price of one good decreases the demand for the other goods, and that's called complementary goods. And you can say they are called as jointly consumed. They are used as jointly, like petrol and car, gas and gas stove. That's all. Next is cross demand. What is cross demand? When the demand for a particular product is affected by the change in the price of other product. Now these two are cross only, okay, because demand for one particular product is not depend upon the price of that but price of the other product. That's why it is called cross demand. What do you mean by normal goods? Normal goods are those goods where the demand for which increases with the increase in the income of the consumer and decrease with the fall in the. Define the inferior goods. Inferior goods are those goods demand for which falls with the increase in the income of the consumer. For example, inferior goods, you can say bajra, maize, decrease when the income increases. That means you don't demand this when your income increases. Different paradox, very important. Different paradox are inferior goods. These are also inferior goods which the consumer spend large part of his income. That means they spend most of their income in this kind of goods, as we discussed, like bajra, maize, your atta, whatever, you know, normal flour you take, and the rice. Therefore the consumer are afford to purchase some quantity of. That means this kind of goods are those kind of goods which is also called inferior goods, but maximum number of percentage of income is spent, and if you get some quantity of superior food leading to a fall in the demand for inferior good. That means this exception. Why it is exception? Because here when the price increases, just see, when the real income increases, you don't purchase this. Real income when increases, why is your income? And please the price. If the price decreases, then what will happen? Your real income increases. When your real income increases, you don't spend. Suppose you take 2 rotis, you don't keep on hogging rotis or eating more rotis, chapatis, okay, because you have got a stipulated, or you know exactly how much you have to spend for the roti. So therefore the consumer can afford this purchase of some quantity. When suppose the price of roti or chapati or atta decreases, but people will purchase more of vegetables. Okay, what is demand function? Functional relationship between the quantity demand of the commodity and its determinants are called demand function. This relationship, just see, relationship is this. And another question, very important, to 4 factors. What are the 4 factors? You know that price of the commodity, price of the substitute goods, income of the consumer, taste and preference, consumer expectation. So you may ask that what are the factors of demand? These are the factors of demand. Then similarly, explain with the example what kind of commodity will have an inverse relationship between income and demand. Income and demand inverse relationship, only inferior goods, you know that. So you have to study this, why it is so. If you have to explain, then this is the explanation, that inverse goods, inverse relationship between income and demand. Inferior goods are those kind of goods, demand for which fall with the increase in the income. For example, demand for the inferior good like maize, they call it bidi also, because people will, if the income increases, people will rather prefer cigarette than bidi. That's why. State of demand law, very important. Demand law, you must read it, mark it up. Other thing remaining equal. Rita, you must read this. Kishan, I haven't. With the demand law, you got to know that demand and price is related inversely. But the exception says that there are some exceptional cases like different goods where the price and demand goes in the positive direction, I mean the same direction. Snob effect. Snob effect means if you purchase a goods which is very less quality, you think it's not a status symbol. That's snob effect. What is income effect? Income effect is relationship of income with the demand. How income is affecting the demand. That is called income effect. Now what is substitution effect? Substitution effect is price of one goods, how it affects the other goods demand. That's called substitution effect. What do you mean by movement along the demand curve? Students, remember, when along the demand curve, demand increases or decreases, that is called expansion, that means increase, and contraction, that means decrease. And it happens due to the price when other thing remaining constant. What are the other things? Income, taste, preferences, expectation of price, price of related product, you know, the factor of demand. So those things are constant, only price changes. That's why demand changes, and we show it on the same diagram. I have given you a big long questions also for that, for the oral, that what is the difference between expansion and increase and contraction and decrease. Now next one is, similarly this question is also there, that what is the difference between change in quantity demand and change in demand. When I say change in demand, that means demand shift to right or to left. If it is increase, it will shift to the right, and if it is decrease, it shift to the left, and it happens due to the other factor, not for the price. Always remember, when demand curve shift to the right or the left, then it happens because of other factor. Other factor means other factor of production, not for the price. Okay, but when it is increasing or decreasing along the same demand curve, that is called expansion or contraction, which happens due to the increase in or decrease in price. Okay, these changes, these two are very important, keeps coming for the board exam. Next is, what are the two factors which affect demand to the going to the right side? Right side means increase. Right side increase means, as you know, just see, income or increase in the price of substitute goods, matlab other thing. Either its income changes, if its income changes, it will go to the right side, or if the prices of other goods increases, if the coffee price increases, people will start getting tea. That's why it is going to the right. Similarly, leftward is the other way round. You can read it out. The only thing is that it's like increase and decrease. When you answer this kind of questions, even if in the oral or in the written test, always get that diagram right. Okay, next one is, what is the cardinal utility and ordinal utility? Cardinal utility means where the utility can be counted, and ordinal utility means it is not counted, it is rank. What is utility? As you know, one satisfying power, that you know from your class 11. One satisfying power of a commodity is called utility. Okay, so now we will be learning more what is marginal utility. Marginal utility means when we count how much utility change with the one additional unit of consumption. One additional unit of consumption, how the utility changes, that we see in marginal utility. Very important question, what is marginal utility? Then one question is that when utility is 0, then total utility is maximum, and when utility is negative, less than 0 means negative, total utility fall. Again I am telling, important, try to understand. When marginal utility is 0, total utility is maximum. When marginal utility is negative, total utility is what? Declining. Next is, what do you explain the total utility? Total utility, you know, total utility is the summation of marginal utility, M1, MU1, MU2, MUN. These are all I am giving you the nutshell, because this is what I have done before the online classes, Google Meet classes. That's what I'm giving you. Next is diminishing marginal utility. You need to know what is diminishing marginal utility. As we consume more and more unit of product, marginal utility of the per unit consumption declines. That you know, remember the lemonade which we told, that is important. Next is, what are the assumption of law of diminishing marginal utility? That you are taking it consecutively and there is no gapping into that. What is the law of, here you just have to know that what is the equilibrium. Equilibrium in one single commodity is MUX equal to PX. Okay, MUX equal to, I am showing you all these things. That is called equimarginal utility, so that you can highlight on your book as well. When you see this video, please highlight on your book what I am showing here. Please highlight. If you cannot, please pause it. And for the two commodity model, the equilibrium is MUX divided by PX equal to MUY divided by PY equal to MU per unit of money. Next is, what do you understand by indifference curve? Very important. Indifference curve is ordinal utility. Okay, all this thing was cardinal, but now indifference curve is ordinal, where we show the preference level, the bundle of product which has got the same kind of preference. Bundle of means two commodity which is having the same. This keep on coming. What do you mean by indifference curve? What do you understand by scale of preference? Scale of preference means indifference curve analysis based on the bundle of product which you consume and getting the same level of satisfaction. And slope of indifference curve is called MRS, marginal rate of substitution, which shows the rate at which the consumer is willing to substitute one goods for other without changing the level of satisfaction. This much is enough. So, and then what is that? Marginal rate of substitution. This keep on coming for the board also. The rate at which the consumer is willing to substitute one for the other. What is budget line? Budget line is the price line showing the graphical variation of prices, PA by PB. That is the slope of budget line. And what is the properties of indifference curve? This keep coming. Properties of indifference curve is it slopes downward, left to right, indicate the consumer. What is that? The diminishing marginal utility. As you increase the consumption of one, the marginal utility declines. That is the reason it keeps coming. Why it is downward sloping? Next one is indifference curve is convex to the origin. It is convex to the origin because of diminishing marginal rate of substitution. That means DMRS, diminishing marginal rate of substitution. So these lines are important. No need to go for the detailing. Only this line. Okay. Next one is indifference curve, two assumption. One is rationality. Rationality means all the consumers are rational. They are not beggar. They are not insane. They are all rational consumer who want maximum satisfaction. Obviously, they want maximum satisfaction. So assumption part is also important. What are the two assumption of indifference curve? And next one is, we need to know that it is diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Second assumption, as I told you just now, it diminishing marginal rate of substitution is because of that actually it is convex to the origin. Just now I told you. Now state the condition of equilibrium. Condition of equilibrium for oral test is not important, because condition of equilibrium, you know that in IC curve the condition of equilibrium is, just see 45 question number, marginal rate of substitution, that means the slope of IC, and PX by PY. PX by PY means the slope of budget line. It should be equal. That means the budget line slope should be equal to the IC curve slope. And it is there in the book also, page number, you can see the figure 8, page chapter number 3. You can check out this particular diagram. If you want, you can do that, but diagram you don't have to draw here. In the oral test and the written test also, these diagrams are important to explain the stuff. Okay, you can use the diagram also for explaining the stuff. Now, two basic indifference curve utility. What are the two basic difference? One difference is ordinal, other one is what? Cardinal. Cardinal is what? cardinal which is counting, that means those equimarginal utility, and indifference curve is the ordinal utility. Utility approach assume that marginal utility is constant, but here it is not that. What are the two difference between utility analysis and indifference curve analysis? Please go through it and just highlight whatever I have shown you for highlighting. Define price elasticity of demand. Very important. Demand refers to the ratio of percentage change in quantity demanded of a commodity to the given percentage change in the price. It shows the degree of responsiveness of demand with respect to price. This much only, and then go to the factors affecting price elasticity of demand. What are the factors that affect the price elasticity of demand? Basically, elasticity are three types: income elasticity, price elasticity, and cross elasticity. But we are going to concentrate on price elasticity. And in the price elasticity, we have seen that the necessity commodity. Now, factors. These factors are very important. So, what are the factors? Factors is necessity commodity. If the commodity is very necessary, I mean you require it, then definitely the elasticity will be less, because you will not sacrifice that. And availability, if there are a lot of available of substitutability, that means a lot of product are there which can be substitute, then you can keep on changing. That means elasticity will be more. Change, elasticity is change only. You can see the diagram. Maybe you can be asked to say first diagram is perfectly inelastic, that means the demand will not change even if the price change. Next one is perfectly elastic, where it is showing that with the price change demand changes. The demand changes without the price change. And next one, this is unitary elasticity, where it is either it is straight line or it is curved linear line. Next one is what determines the supply. The way demand is determined by the factors, supply is determined by lot of factors: price of the product, price of the related goods, cost of production, which is not here, technology, changes in technology, government policy, it is there in the book. So please see the factors which can affect the supply. State the supply, law of supply, it is just like demand. Only thing is that it is the difference is what? Other thing remaining constant. When price increases, supply increase. When price decreases, supply decrease. That means it is direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. Okay. Now just I haven't highlighted because I think it's very easy for you to understand. And now see, draw the supply curve when the purchase, explain the shape of the supply curve. Draw the supply curve when the perishable good, something which actually can be ruined very fast, like vegetables and all. So when the vegetables and all are ruined, even if price increase or decrease, supply is same. Even if price decrease also, the suppliers will supply. Why suppliers will supply? Otherwise it will be perishable, it will go waste. Another thing is that in labor market, supply is down, not this upward sloping. Supply is actually backward sloping. Why backward sloping? In labor market, more you give them the wages or salary, people will not do work more, they will rather do leisure time. Leisure time means they will spend time for entertainment, they will not do work. Other things you should not be studying right now because it will be later, for the written test it is important. Price ceiling, it is there in your for the 10 marks questions, the price ceiling and price floor. What is price ceiling? Always remember, price ceiling is the less price than your equilibrium price. Why it is given? So that consumer can easily purchase the product. Similarly, what is price floor? Price floor is minimum support price, which is for the producer, which is more than the equilibrium price. Always remember, price ceiling is the less than equilibrium price, price floor is more than equilibrium price, and price floor is for the producer, price ceiling is for the consumer. Price floor is actually given so that minimum support price they always give to the producer. It creates the buffer stock also, because government purchase the product from the